There comes a moment in life when everything you have been through, every struggle, every setback, every delay, every closed door has led you to this season. This is not a time to doubt, not a time to shrink back, not a time to hesitate. This is your time. The time to rise, the time to step out, the time to take bold action and become everything God has called you to be. You didn't come this far to quit now. You didn't endure all that pain for nothing. There is a purpose in your process, a reason for your journey, and now is the moment when it all comes together. If you are ready to seize what God has for you, if you are ready to step into destiny, then get ready because this is your time. You've been telling yourself that you're waiting for the right time, waiting for the right moment, waiting until everything lines up perfectly before you make your move. But what if I told you that you are not waiting on time? Time is waiting on you because God has already positioned everything you need, everything you've been praying for, everything you've been hoping would come to pass, but he's waiting on you to move, waiting on you to step out, waiting on you to trust him enough to walk by faith and not by sight. Because too often we make excuses. Too often we talk ourselves out of our own blessings. Too often we let fear paralyze us while time keeps moving, while opportunities keep passing, while doors that were open begin to close. And we sit there wondering why nothing is happening when God is saying, I already set it up, I already made a way, I already gave you the gifts, the talents, the connections, the vision. But I can't make you move. I can't make you believe. I can't make you step into what I've already prepared for you. And it's not that you don't have what it takes. It's not that you're not ready. It's not that you need more confirmation, more signs, more reassurance. It's that you need to shift your mindset. You need to understand that the perfect time is never going to come. The perfect conditions are never going to align exactly the way you imagine. Because God doesn't move according to your comfort. He moves according to his purpose. And his purpose for you is not to sit on the sidelines. His purpose for you is not to watch everybody else walk into their season while you keep waiting. Because waiting is not preparation if you are waiting without action, waiting without faith, waiting without stepping into the opportunities he has placed in front of you. Because time is moving whether you move or not. And what you don't realize is that God has been orchestrating things behind the scenes. God has been shifting things in your favor. God has been opening doors that no man can shut, but you've been hesitant. You've been afraid. You've been stuck in the what ifs. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if it doesn't work out? But what if it does? What if this is your moment? What if this is the time you've been praying for, the time you've been waiting for, the time that changes everything? And if you don't move now, if you don't step into it now, you could miss what God has ordained for you because delayed obedience is still disobedience, because hesitation can cost you opportunities, because every time you doubt, every time you delay, every time you shrink back, you are prolonging what God has already promised you, and you don't have time to waste. You don't have time to keep second guessing. You don't have time to keep talking yourself out of what God has already qualified you for, because the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is the decision to move, the decision to trust, the decision to stop waiting and start walking. Because God is not waiting for you to have it all figured out. He's waiting for you to have faith. He's waiting for you to believe. He's waiting for you to take that first step, because when you step out, when you move in faith, when you trust him enough to walk, even when you can't see the full picture, he will meet you there. He will guide your steps. He will open doors that you didn't even know existed. But you've got to stop waiting for time and start realizing that time is waiting on you to rise up, waiting on you to say yes, waiting on you to step fully into your calling, waiting on you to shake off fear, shake off doubt, shake off hesitation and declare, this is my time, this is my season, this is my moment. And I refuse to let another day pass me by without stepping into everything God has for me. Because when you realize that, when you accept that, when you stop waiting for permission and start walking in purpose, That's when the shift happens. That's when doors start opening. That's when favor starts flowing. Because the moment you move, God moves. The moment you trust, He provides. The moment you walk in faith, He makes the impossible possible. But it all starts with you. It all starts with your decision. It all starts with your willingness to say, no more waiting. No more doubting, no more delaying. This is my time. You've been through things that you never thought you'd survive. You faced battles that almost broke you. You've encountered moments of deep pain, disappointment, and discouragement, moments when you wondered if it was all worth it, moments when you questioned whether you'd ever make it through. But here you are standing on the other side, not broken but stronger, not defeated but prepared, and now looking back, you realize something important. Your struggles have prepared you for this moment. They weren't random, they weren't in vain, and they weren't meant to destroy you. Every hardship, every challenge, every moment of weakness has been a part of the process that has shaped you into the person you are today. You see, it's easy to look at the struggles and see them as setbacks, to look at the pain and believe that it was a sign that you were never meant to succeed. But what if I told you that your struggles weren't setbacks, but setups? What if I told you that the very things that tried to break you were the things that were actually building you, strengthening you, and preparing you for what God has in store? Because if you had never gone through the fire, you would never have learned how strong you are. If you had never faced the storms, you would never have discovered how resilient you could be. If you had never been tested, you would never have known the depth of your faith. And it's because of what you've been through that you're able to stand firm today, ready to take on the next challenge, ready to step into your destiny, and ready to take hold of the promises God has made over your life. We often hear people say that God doesn't give us anything we can't handle, but sometimes it feels like He does. Sometimes it feels like the weight is too much, the battle is too great, and the struggle is endless. But that's exactly where He's building you. That's exactly where He's making you stronger. That's exactly where He's equipping you with the strength you need for what's ahead. It's easy to look at the good moments and think that's when we grow, when everything is going well, when things are falling into place. But the truth is, the most growth happens in the tough moments, in the moments when we don't know how we're going to make it, in the moments when we feel like giving up, because it's in those moments that we are forced to rely on something greater than ourselves, to trust in God's strength instead of our own. And when you've been through enough struggle, you realize that it wasn't just you that got you through. It was God's grace. It was His favor. It was His strength that carried you, and now that same strength, that same grace, that same favor is what's going to carry you into your next season, and it's going to equip you to handle what's ahead, because the moment you step into your destiny, the moment you step into your purpose, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. It's not going to be smooth sailing all the time. But what's different now is that you know you're prepared. You know you can handle it. You know that God has already equipped you with everything you need to succeed. And all those struggles, all those battles, all those moments of pain and disappointment were not in vain. They were part of the process. They were the preparation for this moment, for what God is about to do in your life. And you've got to see it for what it is. Because if you look at the struggles and only see them as negative, you'll miss the purpose behind them. You'll miss the lesson. You'll miss the growth. You'll miss the blessing that is hidden in the struggle. And God doesn't waste anything. He doesn't waste your pain. He doesn't waste your tears. He doesn't waste your struggle. He uses it all to build you up, to prepare you, to get you ready for something greater. And what you thought was a setback is actually the thing that is going to launch you forward. So don't despise the struggle. Don't be discouraged by the pain, because what you've been through has already prepared you for this moment, and everything you need to move forward, everything you need to succeed, everything you need to step into your destiny is already inside of you. It's already been activated through the fire, through the storm, through the struggle. You are more equipped than you think, more capable than you realize, and now is the time to take what you've learned, take what you've been through, and use it as the fuel to propel you into your next season, because your struggles have prepared you for this and you are ready. Fear has a way of paralyzing us, of keeping us stuck in place, afraid to take the next step, afraid to move forward, and afraid to chase the dreams that God has placed within us. It whispers in our ears that we're not good enough, that we don't have what it takes, that we're too old, too young, too inexperienced, or too damaged to do something great. But what if I told you that fear is the very thing that's holding you back from your breakthrough? What if I told you that on the other side of your fear is everything you've been praying for, everything you've been hoping for, everything you've been waiting to step into? The only thing standing between where you are right now and where God is taking you is your willingness to step out of fear and walk in faith. Faith is the opposite of fear. While fear tells you that you can't, faith tells you that you can. While fear makes you focus on what could go wrong, faith makes you focus on what could go right. Fear looks at the obstacles, the challenges, and the impossibilities, while faith looks at the promises, the potential, and the power of God working on your behalf. It's time to step out of fear and walk in faith, because faith is the key that unlocks the doors to your destiny. You see, fear will always try to hold you back. It will always try to convince you that you're not ready, that you're not qualified, that you're not equipped for what God has called you to do. But what fear doesn't want you to understand is that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. He doesn't wait for you to have it all figured out before He gives you a vision. He gives you the vision and then equips you along the way. He doesn't need you to have all the answers or a perfect plan. He just needs your obedience. He just needs your willingness to trust Him even when it doesn't make sense, even when it's uncomfortable, and even when it feels like the odds are stacked against you. That's what faith is. Taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase, trusting that God will lead you, guide you, and make a way, even when everything around you tells you to stop, to turn back, to play it safe. But stepping out in faith doesn't mean there won't be challenges. It doesn't mean that everything will go smoothly, or that there won't be moments when you doubt, when you're uncertain, or when you question whether you've made the right decision. There will be times when you feel like giving up, when the road gets tough and the obstacles seem insurmountable, but that's when you've got to remember that faith isn't just about believing when things are easy. It's about believing when things are hard. It's about trusting God when you can't see a way. It's about holding on to His promises even when the storm is raging all around you, because that's when God does His best work. He's not afraid of your doubts. He's not intimidated by your fears, and He's not surprised by the challenges that come your way, because He's already gone before you. He's already made a way. He's already equipped you with everything you need to overcome. All you have to do is step out, take that first step, and trust that God will meet you where you are. When you step out in faith, you may not have all the answers, but you don't need to. What you need is trust in God's timing and His plan for your life. You need to know that the steps you take are not in vain, that even when you feel unsure, God is still in control and He is still working all things together for your good. Fear may try to hold you back, but you've got to push through it. You've got to make the decision that you will not be ruled by fear, but by faith. You've got to remind yourself that God has called you to do something great, that He has placed dreams in your heart for a reason, and that He will never leave you or forsake you as you walk in obedience to His call. There's a purpose on the other side of your fear. There's a blessing waiting for you. There's a breakthrough waiting for you. There's a victory waiting for you. But you've got to be willing to step out, to move beyond your comfort zone, to let go of the fear that's been holding you back, and to trust God enough to take that leap of faith. The moment you take that step, you will see doors begin to open. You will see favor begin to flow. You will see your faith start to move mountains. So step out of fear and walk in faith, because when you do, you are positioning yourself to walk into everything God has prepared for you. For far too long, you have been stuck in a cycle of delay and distraction, where it feels like every time you try to make progress, something holds you back, something distracts you, and you are left feeling stuck, frustrated, and defeated. You've set goals, you've had dreams, and you've made plans. But for some reason, the timing never seems right. The opportunities never seem to align, and the distractions keep pulling you away from what really matters. But let me tell you something. The cycle of delay and distraction is not your destiny. It's not where you're meant to stay. You weren't created to be stuck in neutral, to constantly feel like you're running in circles, making little to no progress. It's time to break the cycle. It's time to break free from the hold that delay and distraction have had on your life and step into everything that God has for you. The first thing you need to understand is that delay is not denial. Just because things haven't happened on your timeline doesn't mean that God has forgotten about you or that He has abandoned His promises. Sometimes God allows delays to teach us patience, to refine us, to prepare us for what's coming. A delay doesn't mean that you are being punished or that you've missed your opportunity. It simply means that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating things in your favor, lining up people, resources, and opportunities, and making sure that when the time comes, you'll be ready. But while you wait, it's important not to allow the delay to lead to discouragement. It's easy to get caught in the trap of feeling like you've missed your shot, like your time has passed. But the truth is that God's timing is always perfect, and He is never late. His delays are part of His plan, and they are preparing you for something greater than you could ever imagine. Distractions, on the other hand, are a whole different beast. Distractions come in many forms. The people who pull you in 1,000 different directions, the fear and doubt that creep into your mind, the endless noise of the world around you that tries to pull your focus away from your purpose. Distractions keep you from being fully present, from fully committing to your goals, from fully pursuing the vision that God has placed in your heart. Distractions cause you to lose your focus, to lose your drive, and to lose sight of what really matters. But here's the thing. Distractions are not just things that happen to you. Distractions are often things that you allow. We all have the power to control where we place our attention, to decide what we give our time and energy to. If you're going to break the cycle of delay and distraction, you need to take a hard look at your life and ask yourself, what am I allowing to distract me from my purpose? What am I allowing to steal my time and my focus? Sometimes we get so caught up in the busyness of life, the constant demands on our time, that we forget to prioritize what's important. We chase after things that don't move us forward. We say yes to things that drain us, and we allow the noise of the world to drown out the quiet voice of God calling us to greater things. Breaking the cycle of delay and distraction starts with recognizing that you have the power to choose where you invest your time, your energy, and your focus. It starts with making intentional decisions about what you will allow into your life and what you will block out. If you want to break free from delay, stop measuring success by what you see in the moment and start trusting that God is working on your behalf. Stop looking at where you are now and start focusing on where God is taking you. Your future is not determined by your current circumstances, but by your faith in God's ability to make a way, even when you can't see it. If you want to break free from distraction, start by cutting out the noise, set boundaries for yourself. If there are people or things in your life that are constantly pulling you off course, learn to say no. Protect your time and energy. Stop allowing yourself to be scattered by things that are not in alignment with your purpose. You have the right to prioritize your time, your goals, and your dreams. But breaking the cycle of delay and distraction isn't just about cutting things out. It's also about filling your life with the right things. Fill your life with purpose-driven activities. Fill your life with people who support and encourage you. Fill your life with the Word of God, because when you fill your heart and mind with His truth, it becomes much harder for distractions to take root. When you focus on the vision God has given you, when you make the decision to pursue it with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength, the distractions will lose their power over you. The delay will no longer feel like a setback, but a setup for the greatness that is to come. It's time to stop being stuck in a cycle. It's time to take control, take action, and break free from the hold that delay and distraction have had on your life. Your destiny is waiting for you, but it's up to you to step out of the cycle and into the purpose that God has for you. It's time to move forward with focus, faith, and determination. The cycle is broken and your future is bright. You may find yourself in a season where you're looking ahead to what's next in your life, uncertain of the challenges that lie before you, unsure if you have what it takes to move forward, or questioning whether you're truly equipped for the next chapter. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the unknowns, to doubt your ability, and to wonder if you're ready for what God has in store. But let me tell you this, God has already equipped you for what's next. You are not walking into a future unprepared. You are not stepping into the unknown without everything you need to succeed. The tools, the strength, the wisdom, the faith has all been placed within you. And now is the time to recognize it, to activate it, and to trust that everything you need has already been provided. We often think that we need something more, something extra, or something outside of ourselves to move into the next phase of our lives. We think that we need a specific opportunity, the perfect timing, or a set of perfect circumstances to do what God has called us to do. But God's word reminds us that He doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. That means you don't need to wait for some magical moment when everything lines up perfectly. You don't need to wait for some external sign that says now is the time. What you need is to realize that God has already put within you everything you need to take that next step. You have been equipped for this season. You've been preparing for this moment your entire life, and you may not even realize it yet, but the strength you need is already in you. Think about the challenges you've overcome in the past. Think about the obstacles you've faced, the struggles you've endured, and the lessons you've learned. Each one of those experiences was part of the preparation for what's ahead. Every trial, every difficult moment, every situation that tested your faith was designed to build you, to grow you, to strengthen you, and to get you ready for what's next. You are not who you were yesterday. You are not the same person you were when you first started your journey. You are stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. The trials you face have refined you, have sharpened you, and have prepared you for the very thing you're stepping into. When we look at the challenges ahead, it's easy to focus on the fear, to focus on what we don't know, to focus on our perceived weaknesses and inadequacies. But God doesn't call you to focus on what you lack. He calls you to focus on what He has already placed within you. He has equipped you with everything you need to succeed. And when you feel like you're not enough, you have to remember that His strength is made perfect in your weakness. When you feel inadequate, when you feel unsure, that's when you are the most open to receiving His power, His wisdom, and His guidance. God doesn't expect you to have it all figured out. He doesn't expect you to have all the answers. What He expects from you is trust. Trust that He has equipped you for this season. Trust that He will give you the grace to handle whatever comes your way. Trust that His provision will be enough. God has given you the tools you need, but it's up to you to use them. You can't wait for everything to fall into place before you take action. You can't wait until you feel fully ready, until all the conditions are perfect, until you feel confident and certain. You have to step out in faith, take that first step, and trust that God will meet you where you are. He will give you the strength and the wisdom you need when you need it. He will guide you, He will provide, and He will make a way. But He can't do that until you take that first step of obedience. God has already equipped you, but it's time for you to believe it and to move in faith, to move toward what He's calling you to. You are not lacking anything that you need to fulfill your purpose. You have been equipped with purpose, with vision, with talent, with perseverance, and with an inner strength that you may not even fully recognize yet. Everything you need to thrive in this season has already been placed within you. God has given you the resources, the skills, and the abilities that you need to succeed. The key is trusting Him and stepping out in faith, believing that He will provide and make a way, even when you don't see the whole picture. You are not walking into the unknown alone. God is with you, and He has already prepared you for what's next. So stop looking at what you don't have and start looking at what you do have. Stop doubting your ability and start believing that you are equipped for this journey. The season ahead may not be easy, but it will be fruitful because you are equipped for it. You are ready, you are capable, and now is the time to take that step, to trust that God has already provided everything you need to move forward, and to step boldly into what's next. Too often we find ourselves trapped by the weight of our past. We allow the mistakes, the failures, the regrets, and the hurts of yesterday to dictate who we are today and who we believe we can be tomorrow. We carry around the baggage of what we've done, what's been done to us, and the things we wish we could change, and we convince ourselves that because of our past, our future is somehow limited. We believe that the scars we carry are permanent, that our failures are irreversible, and that the things we've gone through define who we are and what we are capable of. But let me tell you this, your past does not define your future. No matter what you've been through, no matter what you've experienced, no matter what mistakes you've made, your future is not locked in place by the things that happened to you or by the choices you've made in the past. The first thing you have to realize is that the past is just that, the past. It's behind you, and while it may have shaped you in some ways, it does not have to determine your destiny. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are not bound by the mistakes you've made or the pain you've experienced. You have the power to change, to grow, and to move forward regardless of what you've been through. Your past may have been filled with mistakes, failures, and brokenness, but that doesn't mean you have to live in that brokenness. It doesn't mean you have to let it define you. You are not the sum of your failures. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not defined by the things that have happened to you. You are defined by the choices you make today and the actions you take going forward. Too many people allow the weight of their past to keep them stuck. They get so wrapped up in what went wrong, in what they should have done differently, or in what others did to them, that they can't move forward. But you have to understand that your future is not a reflection of your past. It's a reflection of your faith, your vision, and your ability to move forward. Your future is shaped by your mindset, your belief in yourself, and your trust in God's ability to redeem and restore. You have to let go of the past in order to embrace what's ahead. You can't keep looking in the rearview mirror and expecting to drive forward. The more you dwell on what's behind you, the less focus and energy you have for what's ahead. And let me tell you, what's ahead is greater than what's behind. Your best days are not behind you, they are in front of you. God has a plan for your life that is not dependent on your past. He doesn't look at your mistakes and define you by them. He doesn't look at the things you've done wrong and say, you can never be anything more. No, He sees your potential, your purpose, and your ability to rise above the things that have held you down. God is not limited by your past. His grace is greater than your mistakes. His love is greater than your regrets, and his power is greater than your failures. You may have fallen in the past, but that doesn't mean you have to stay down. You may have made mistakes, but that doesn't mean you have to let those mistakes control your future. God's mercy is new every morning, and he gives you the opportunity to start fresh every day. Don't let your past dictate your future when God has already given you a new beginning. It's time to stop living under the shadow of what happened in the past. It's time to stop allowing the pain, the hurt, the disappointments, and the failures to control your life. It's time to forgive yourself, to let go of the guilt, the shame, and the regret, and to step into the future that God has prepared for you. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are not the hurt that's been inflicted upon you. You are not the person you were yesterday. You are a new creation in Christ, and you have the power to rise up, to move forward, and to create a future that is full of hope, purpose, and promise. If you keep looking back, you'll miss the blessings that are waiting for you ahead. If you keep holding on to what was, you'll never fully embrace what is. Your future is waiting for you, and it is greater than anything you've experienced in your past. There are dreams to be realized, goals to be achieved, and a purpose to fulfill. You have everything you need to create the future you desire. All you need is to believe that your past does not determine your future. Your mistakes, your failures, your hurts, they don't have to control your destiny. You have the power to choose who you want to be and what you want to become, regardless of what's behind you. So let go of the past. Don't let it hold you back any longer. The future is yours to create. The past doesn't define who you are. It's time to step into the future that God has for you, a future that is filled with hope, promise, and the potential to do things you never thought possible. Your past may have been tough, but your future is bright and is waiting for you to walk into it. Don't let your past keep you from the greatness that God has in store for you. Your future is waiting. Opportunities come into our lives in many forms, but one thing is certain: they don't wait around for us to be ready. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They don't wait for all the conditions to be right, and they certainly don't wait for us to feel completely prepared. They are fleeting, passing by in an instant, and if we're not ready to seize them when they come, we may miss out on the very thing that could change our lives. The truth is, opportunities are not guaranteed to come back, and time doesn't stand still while you're waiting for the perfect time to act. If you want to see transformation in your life, if you want to move forward and achieve the things God has placed in your heart, you have to learn to seize the opportunities that are right in front of you now. So many people live in a state of hesitation, always waiting for the right time. They wait for the stars to align, for the circumstances to be perfect, or for them to feel fully ready before they take action. But here's the truth. The right time often never comes. Life doesn't always offer us perfect conditions. There will always be obstacles, there will always be challenges, and there will always be reasons to hesitate. But if you wait for everything to be perfect before you step out, you'll find yourself standing still, stuck in a cycle of procrastination, and missing out on the opportunities that are passing you by. The key to success isn't waiting for the perfect time. It's being ready to take action when the opportunity presents itself. God has a way of opening doors when you least expect it, and sometimes those doors don't stay open for long. The opportunity you've been waiting for may only last for a season. And if you're not ready to walk through it when it's there, it could close before you even have a chance to act. But here's the good news. God doesn't give us opportunities to tease us. He gives them to us to bless us, to move us forward, and to fulfill his purpose in our lives. The door may only be open for a short time, but if you're ready, if you've prepared yourself, if you've positioned yourself to move when the opportunity comes, then you'll step through that door into something greater than you ever imagined. The key to seizing opportunities is recognizing them when they come, Opportunities often don't look the way we expect. They don't always come with flashing lights and a big sign saying this is your moment. Sometimes opportunities come disguised as challenges, as obstacles, or as things that push you out of your comfort zone. But the greatest opportunities often lie on the other side of fear and discomfort. If you're too afraid to step out, too afraid to take that leap, you'll miss out on what God has for you. It's easy to get caught in the trap of overthinking, of analyzing every possible outcome, and of second guessing yourself. But while you're busy overanalyzing, the opportunity could be slipping through your fingers. You have to learn to trust in God's timing, trust in the abilities He's given you, and trust that He will guide you in the right direction. Don't wait for perfect conditions to take the step now. Even if you're unsure, even if you don't have all the answers, trust that God will meet you where you are and lead you to where you need to go. Seizing opportunities also requires action. It's not enough to just recognize an opportunity. You have to act on it. You have to be willing to take that first step, even when it feels uncertain or uncomfortable. You may not have all the answers, you may not have everything you need, but what you have is enough. God will equip you along the way. He doesn't expect you to have everything figured out from the start. He just expects you to be willing to take that leap of faith and trust that He will provide the rest. Sometimes the biggest obstacle to seizing opportunities is not the lack of resources or the lack of knowledge, it's the lack of belief in yourself. But let me remind you, you are capable, you are equipped, you are ready for what's next. God has already placed everything you need within you to succeed, and when you take action, He will multiply your efforts. Another important factor in seizing opportunities is the willingness to let go of fear and doubt. Fear has a way of holding us back, of keeping us stuck in place, and convincing us that we're not capable of stepping into something greater. Fear tells us that we're not ready, that we don't deserve it, that we're going to fail. But you can't let fear dictate your actions. Fear is a natural part of the process, but it doesn't have to control you. In fact, it's often a sign that you're on the right path, that you're about to step into something bigger than yourself. The greater the fear, the greater the opportunity. When you feel afraid, it's a sign that you're about to break through to something new, and you can either let that fear paralyze you or use it as fuel to move forward. The choice is yours. Opportunities are not forever. They don't wait for you to get comfortable. They don't wait for you to be ready. The time to act is now. If you wait too long, you might find that the door has closed and you've missed your chance. But if you step out in faith, if you take action now, if you recognize the opportunities that are before you and trust that God will guide you, you'll find yourself walking into a season of favor, breakthrough, and blessing. God has great things in store for you, but you have to be willing to step out and seize them. Don't wait. The time is now. There are moments in life when we face decisions, challenges, and opportunities that demand more from us than we feel we can give. These moments challenge our faith, stretch our courage, and call us to step into places that seem far beyond our comfort zone. It's in these moments that we need to remember one powerful truth. You were made for this. You weren't created to shrink back in fear or doubt. You were made to step forward in boldness, to take on challenges, and to rise above the obstacles that stand in your way. You were made for this. The strength, the courage, the wisdom, and the resilience you need to face whatever is in front of you are already within you. All that is required is for you to move in boldness and believe in the power that God has placed inside of you. Too often we allow the doubts and fears of our minds to limit us. We see the mountain ahead and convince ourselves that we are not strong enough to climb it. We hear the voice of criticism, whether from others or from within ourselves, and we shrink back, afraid of failure, rejection, or not being good enough. But boldness doesn't come from feeling perfect or having everything figured out. Boldness is not the absence of fear, it's the ability to act in the face of fear. It's a decision to step forward even when the future is uncertain, even when the road is difficult, and even when the odds seem stacked against you. Boldness is the trust that despite all the challenges, you are equipped to handle whatever comes your way because you were made for this moment. Every challenge, every obstacle, and every setback you faced up to this point has been part of the preparation for this moment. God has been shaping you, refining you, and strengthening you for the very thing you're about to face. He has placed the tools inside of you, given you the experiences, and built your character for the work that lies ahead. So when the time comes to step out, to take that leap of faith, to move forward into the unknown, you can rest assured that you have already been prepared. You are not stepping into the unknown without the resources you need. You are stepping into the future with everything you've gained, with everything you've learned, and with everything God has placed within you. Boldness requires trusting that you are capable, even when you don't feel capable. It's easy to wait for the perfect moment or for the right feelings to align before you take action, but that's not how boldness works. Boldness is taking action when you don't have all the answers, when you don't feel ready, and when the circumstances are not perfect. It's about moving despite the uncertainty, knowing that God will be with you every step of the way. It's trusting that He will guide you, provide for you, and equip you as you go. God doesn't call us to wait for everything to be perfect before we move. He calls us to move forward, trusting that He will meet us where we are and give us what we need when we need it. Being bold is not about having no fear. It's about recognizing fear and choosing to move in spite of it. Fear is a natural response to stepping into the unknown. It's the voice that tells you, you can't do this, or you're not good enough, or what if you